Diversity.
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 Diversity means unique differences, those characteristics that distinguish us from each other.
To me, it means a celebration of the rich variation of human beings.
Defining diversity without a context is almost impossible to do. Okay. One way I conceptualize diversity is if you look at nature, if you look at ecosystem, for example, the most healthy ecosystem is one with very good diversity, because diversity often provides checks and balances.
The conference began, 10 years ago, approximately 10 years ago. Dr. Joel Frater, who was chairing Rec and Leisure as a department, started as a departmental entity.
Joel had this vision of working with his Recreation and Leisure Studies class to create this event. And with his class and a handful of faculty and staff on a committee, he started the Cultural Diversity Conference.
And as years went by, the diversity conference became very successful. And it was quite natural for this program or this conference that started at the department level to take on a bigger scope and become a college-wide event.
And I think that's the proper domain. It's great that it germinated from a department with a champion there, and Dr. Frater, who is now our Assistant Provost for Diversity. It's great that it started there, but it really needs to be embraced by the entire campus.
At the time, I was the advisor for our Student Honor Society. And one of the requirements for the Student Honor Society is engagement in leadership activities. And I felt at the time a diversity conference would lend itself to multiple leadership opportunities for students.
I have been so impressed by the growth in this conference just in the last 3 years that I've been here. And I have to say I was particularly moved by the swearing-in ceremony that we had for new citizens, which dovetailed with our diversity conference last year. It's actually something we've done 2 years running. And to see people take on the citizenship of this country, and they come from all walks of life, I thought it was a terrific signature for our diversity conference last year because it represents all of those perspectives.
We've had some great keynote speakers. Last year, of course, we had John Quinones, who is a well-known media person, and who, but most importantly to me, was part of the programs that I run when he was a child, because he was in something called Upward Bound. And in Upward Bound, it's a federal grant that goes into the high schools and kind of targets kids who have some promise but don't necessarily know how to get an education, get to college, do what they need to do. When he came here specifically because we had an Upward Bound program at Brockport, and he asked to meet with the students. So before he even met with the entire student body, we had a reception, and he met and talked to every single Upward Bound student that we could bring in here. So that was an amazing experience because he's a real person, and he really remembered where he was from and how he got here, and that he could go and give back, and that's what he did. The year before that, we had a man named Bill Miller, who was a Native American performer.
Don't let society, don't let a school system, don't let a neighborhood tell you you have nothing. Don't tell yourself, I can't make it. I'm going to share that story as we go on.
When I introduced Bill Miller as our keynote a few years ago, I was really taken by his view and his performance of diversity through the eyes of a Native person. I took my daughter to the evening program. She absolutely loved what he brought here. I gave him a Brockport hat and a hoodie to wear proudly. And just about a month ago, I got an email from another college president way in the northern part of Wisconsin, different college, different mission, but for their diversity celebration, guess who was their keynoter? Bill Miller. Guess what he was telling this college president? He was telling him about the time he was at Brockport. And this is a close friend, a close associate, who is also enjoying his second presidency. And yet the memory of our conference stayed alive in the mind of Bill Miller, and he was animating and sharing that with others. I think we truly are making diversity everyone's business. As you look out and you see folks from different disciplines, different cultures, different countries, we're drawing more and more diversity to the conference itself.
I'd like to see it to continue to be a celebration of who we are. I'd like to see us become more engaged with our communities beyond the college, into our village and into the greater Rochester area.
I think, as we construct our building across the street here, the Special Events Recreation Center, I'd love our diversity conference to fill that space.
We don't turn diversity on and off, like a faucet. It is something that has to be woven into the fabric.
Bringing people who have diverse experiences through their life, we bring them all together and allow them to interact. The product that they would come up with would invariably be better than the product created by people who think alike.